All right, this is Peter at the Burkle Farm. So I am back at Doug's farm, and Nick has been super busy with his own stuff, so he graciously allowed me to use his tractor. So it's kind of an old-fashioned tractor, but it's very nice. And I thought I would just kind of take you through a little bit of finishing up this disking out here. You see that? And I dropped this tractor off yesterday, and I came back, and there was a barn cat and excuse me, a barn cat and a bird in here. When I just opened the door, somehow a bird got in, and one of the barn cats followed it in, and couldn't quite figure out how to get a hold of it. But they were kind of in a little tornado going after each other. So kind of an interesting thing. All right, well, I'm gonna see if I can remember how to start this thing, because I've only driven it one time. So keys on. I think we pull the injector out. I think that's it. Let's see. That we're making progress. It is flattening out considerably. It is raining / hailing out, which is just about right, since this is the afternoon I had off to do this. Well, whatever. It's better than being indoors on a keyboard. Hey, this is Peter at the Burkle Farm. It is Saturday, I think October the 15th. And boy, you can feel a winter coming. It was in the 20s this morning, and breezy, damp, so we're happy for some snow and rain we've already had. We don't mind October snow because it usually melts off by midday, and yesterday it snowed all morning. and then it melted off, and we're starting to get heavy dews again, which we're grateful for, because it's been an extremely dry early autumn. But you can see the trees are shedding their leaves, and it's still beautiful, but not quite the way it is in early autumn, where it's warm and dry and, pretty lovely actually. But you can see here, I'll just say, this is the end of the geared reel. I use geared reels and poly braid from Powerflex for the long runs like this, and then I use kind of the electrical cord reels with the cheaper stuff that I bought early on in farming for cross fences. It seems to be a decent compromise for me as far as cost and not having to buy. I'll replace that cheap stuff as I go along, but the electrical cord reels are actually very kind of nice to handle over short distances, like cross fencing. But I'm setting this up. We're starting what I think is probably going to be the last grazing run of the year for us, which should last me about 45 days. And you can see the grass still looks pretty good. I know in the north-facing field that we grazed about a week ago or so, we put a lot of stress on the alfalfa and the clover in there right before the frost came. And so I'm not certain how well that one will come back, and we might not graze that again. I don't know. But, you can see I have hay bales kind of, if you see these single hay bales that I have kind of perched all over this field, they're just spots where the seeding didn't come right, or there's a lot of weeds and I want to unroll hay in those spots. And other than that, we have a pretty nasty patch where I didn't get it right when I seeded this field, and we're going to unroll hay kind of all over this field. And this field kind of goes up to that tree line. It's a big square, and that's going to be my winter project. So but I think we're going to get to, I'd say, December for sure, grazing, and then we'll have to flip into feeding hay. So kind of how I do that is when we get into these areas where I want them to graze but there's hay bales, is I just fence them off, and they don't seem to bother them too much. I thought early on I could get away with not, and they'd be more interested in the green grass, but turns out they were pretty curious, and they ate some of it on a couple bales. And honestly, like, the biggest thing I noticed is some of the bales kind of got roughed up around the edges because the cows were scratching themselves on them. But yeah, this field's in pretty good shape. So I'm gonna set this fence up all the way down to the tree line down there, and we're gonna come this way, and then we'll head back this way and do kind of 4 runs. And that's kind of the rotation I've been using this year. And then next year I'll probably switch it up just to, you know, continue to find the efficiency that I want. But the neighbors have all, you can see this is my neighbor here. He's a nice guy. They came in and harvested their beans, and you know, they do some hay around the edge of their bean field. But with the hilly ground we're in, I just have a hard time finding tillage and row cropping a good solution. Plus, it doesn't look very nice. I mean, this is what he's got to look at now for the rest of the winter. And you can see, you know, everywhere else is beans and corn, and the corn is kind of coming down this weekend. And we still got beautiful green grass here. We're going to move the animals over here, and they're going to be happy. So we'll do this video in some pieces, and I think we're going to have to move them from the triangle field over there along this tree line and then back into here. So short move today, but we'll film it and we'll see how it goes. All right, bye. Great. Look what I just found. I just walking the fence line, just making sure everything was clear. And this explains why that one steer we had was still a bull. Somehow he popped his ring off. And that's something. I don't know. I'm not going to use this brand anymore. I don't remember what brand it was, or I'd tell you guys. But it's never great to go and find a banding ring out in your field. That means something didn't go right. No idea. What I do know is all the weathers are weathers. I check them tactily, is I guess what I would say. All right, that's it. This is something I thought I'd talk about. This is why I really enjoy sheep, and the Highland breed in particular. If you look at these trees, even though it's fall and they had grass, they stripped off every leaf they could reach. Let me see. From like here down, and especially down where the sheep can get, there is nothing on these little saplings. And so these will probably weaken and die over the winter, which is good for me, and I'll be able to kind of come in here with the brush hog and the front end loader. And you know, I want to leave the trees that are in the middle that are healthy, but I got dead ones that I want to get to, and we don't want all these little saplings. They take strength away from trees that we want to keep. And then the other thing is we're starting to get these little thorn trees. I don't know if you can see them. And the sheep stripped every leaf off of these things. Here, you can see they left a couple of leaves on this one. They stop invasion into your pasture in its tracks if you let them do it. And I was just driving by on the four-wheeler, and I just was looking out, and there's these little twigs out there that they just look like twigs because they stripped every leaf off of them. So you say, people, I hear, you know, oh, you can't improve pasture with sheep. That's malarkey, okay? This was probably our worst field that had grass on it when we moved in. And it's still not great, but it's getting better each pass I make with it. The first year we only got to graze this once, and I let it grow up and grow over. Last year we got to graze it 3 times, and this year we grazed it 6 times. Just went through on the 6th time in this part. We haven't grazed up here yet, but right here. So yeah, sheep can do a great job.